Okay, thank you very much to Doug and Mexico Mining Center for inviting me to speak and present here, and thank you all for showing up to hear the talk. I'll be presenting Southern Silver Exploration, primarily our Cerro Las Minitas project, which we are developing into the next major silver resource in Mexico. I will be making forward-looking statements. I am a geologist. That is part of my job, and so you are fair warned. And so, again, the focus is on Cerro Las Minitas. It is a silver, lead, zinc skarn project located in Durango, Mexico. And at this point, it is one of the largest and highest grade undeveloped silver-based projects in the world, with indicated and inferred resources totaling 335 million silver equivalent ounces at a relatively high grade of 326 grams per ton silver equivalent. That breaks out into about 40% in the indicated category and 60% in the inferred category. It's a well-located project in southeast Durango. We're surrounded by miners. It's an established mining district. And we've just recently released a PEA about 4 weeks ago. And the highlights from that I'll be reviewing predominantly within this talk are a 15-year mine life, robust project economics, high revenues and free cash flow, as well as a balance between precious metal and base metal revenues. Corporately, we own 100% of the project and are in full control of the project. We have $7.5 million in the treasury and enough money to keep moving the project forward with what we plan for the balance of this year and well into 2023. Company catalysts pending. We have the PEA out, and so now I'm doing things like this, presenting talks and getting out, having one-on-one investor presentations and those sorts of things. As well as upcoming, we have new discoveries on the CLM project. We're planning to do a resource update on the project within the next 4 to 6 months. We have engineering upgrades that we're contemplating that we believe will lower costs and lower operating costs of the project. We have new drilling on one of our sister projects, the Oro project, located in southern New Mexico, and I'll touch on that briefly if I have some time at the end of the presentation. And we have a new project, our Hermanas project, again in southern New Mexico, and we're in the process of permitting that and be looking towards drilling that in 2023. So on to the PEA highlights. The PEA features robust project economics with excellent silver and zinc price leverage. In terms of our base case, and you can see footnoted on the bottom are the base case metal values and then the base case plus 15 metal values. But the base case, where NPV at a 5% discount of $349 million, that translates to $1.55 Canadian a share, and an internal rate of return of 17.9%. At the base case plus 15, the NPV 5% increases to $561 million with an internal rate of return of 24.4%. This is a large project. We've captured about 24.5 million tons within the mine model, 15-year mine life with an annual average projected production of 11.3 million ounces silver equivalent on an annual basis, and that includes 4.7 million ounces of silver alone. Life of mine production totals 168.8 million ounces silver equivalent, which again includes 70.8 million ounces of silver alone. All-in sustaining costs are at $13.27 US. It's a high revenue project with base case revenues totaling over $3.7 billion. We have 42% of the revenues from silver, with 39% from zinc, and the balance being from lead and copper. And it is with initial capital costs of $341 million. We're well located in a mining friendly jurisdiction with excellent infrastructure. And again, we have upgrades to the economics and the project moving forward. We have new deposits that have been identified. We're going to start looking at gold recovery within the cash flow model. At this point, the flow sheet only includes silver, copper, lead, and zinc. So we're looking at adding gold into the process flow sheet in the cash flow model. And then we're going to have a hard look at ore sorting and see if we're able to significantly reduce the capital and operation op costs by utilizing ore sorting. And so again, just to highlight that that Cerro Las Minitas is one of the largest and higher grade silver-based deposits in the world. You can see in the bubble chart, the lower axis, or the x-axis is tonnage, and then you can also see grade on the left, the y-axis, with the size of the bubbles being the size and the grade of the deposit. So clearly there are deposits that have greater tonnage. We tend to be higher grade, and as well there are deposits that are higher grade, but they do tend to contain less silver equivalent ounces. So we believe we're well placed in that regard. Capital structure of the company. Right now we're just under $60 million market capitalization. Our enterprise value per ounce in the ground is relatively low at 17 cents per ounce, and a P versus NAV of only 14%. So at this point, we believe we're undervalued. We believe there's significant upside in the project. Certainly believe it's a good buying opportunity at this point as well. So you can see the chart, and we've been affected, just like most, by this latest malaise over the last 4 to 6 months. We do get analyst coverage from Red Cloud Securities and Fundamental Research, who believe that, again, like I do, that we should be valued at a much higher value than we are currently right now. Southern Silver features an experienced management team and board with a history of success, particularly in Mexico. You look down through the people involved with the project, particularly on the board, and you'll see a number of our involvement with world-class deposits, including the Peñasquito deposit, San Nicolas, which was just in the news just last week, actually, Nuestra Senora. Los Gatos. So again, it's a group of people that know what major projects look like. They know how to advance those projects, and they know how to bring them to production decisions, either within the companies that they're operating with, or through joint venture or sale to producing companies that put the project into production for the benefit of the shareholder. And so this is our project portfolio. Again, I'll be focusing primarily on Cerro Las Minitas. It sits within the heart of the Faja de Plata of north central Mexico. We sit on the edge of the Altiplano to the east of the mountains. Very, very safe jurisdiction to be operating in as a result. We also have a couple of earlier stage projects, being the Oro. It's a laramide porphyry project that we're currently drilling at this point, and we'll be looking at getting further news flow on the project in the coming weeks and months. And Hermanas is a much earlier stage project that we just acquired last fall and are in moving it through the permitting process right now. It's a silver gold vein, epithermal vein deposit in southern New Mexico. And so back to the PEA. The graphic on the right shows the breakdown of after-tax free cash flow. In blue is the base case. In gray is the base case plus 15 scenarios. And so really what we're looking at with the base case, gross revenues, again, over $3.7 billion. Pre-tax cash flow over $1 billion, and after-tax NPV of $349 million. One of the features of the chart, though, is that you can see that the engineers did a very good job in mine scheduling, moving the higher grade mineralization to the early part of the mine, and also the actual production tonnage produced. And so you can see there's excellent free cash flow in the first 8 years. Its average is $84 million a year, which is quite substantial in terms of generated free cash flow. And this is reflected as well within the production scenario. Again, on the right, I've got the chart that shows the breakdown of the metals produced out of the mine or projected out of the mine on a silver equivalency basis. And again, we're very successful in getting some of the higher grade silver mineralization produced in the first 8 years, as well as just overall more metal production in the first 8 years. Again, that average is a 13.4 million silver equivalent ounces produced in that first 8-year period, culminating in year 8, which is when we hit one of the major sweet spots of the project. Yes, model annual sales, 11.3 million ounces silver equivalent, and again, that includes 4.7 million ounces of silver, which in and of itself is pretty significant production for any silver mine that's out there right now. Okay. And so just to take a little bit of a step back, vector you into the project. We are located in southeast Durango, just 70 kilometers to the northeast of the city of Durango. The highway to Torreon runs right through the project, literally 400 meters away from some of the deposits. You can see there's a terrific infrastructure. We have 2 federal highways running through the project, and the lower part of the graphic, the red line, rail line running through. There's power lines. We operate the project out of the town of Guadalupe, Victoria. It's a 10-minute drive to the south. Guadalupe, Victoria has a population of around 35,000, I believe. So again, this is fantastic infrastructure. We're really taking advantage of that in terms of putting together the project. We had the company is embedded in Guadalupe, Victoria, the town. We have our exploration permits in place, social license initiatives, exploration access agreements with the local ejido. We hire locally, and quite proud of that fact. And now we've started initiating baseline studies to continue de-risking the project as we move forward towards a production decision. And this is the Cerro. You can see in the foreground part of the divided highway that runs right through the property. The overpass is access back to the town of Guadalupe, Victoria. We're looking to the north, and you can see that we've identified 4 mineral deposits on the western flank of the Cerro, 2 mineral deposits on the eastern flank of the Cerro. Again, excellent access, and as we're on the edge of the Alto Plano, so we're just out in the open, and it's again a very safe area to be working in. This is the distribution of the mineral deposits around the Cerro, and this is a classic skarn system similar to other deposits like San Martin, La Paria, to somewhat like Nika, although more with regards to a CRD style environment. And effectively you have a central intrusion. I've indicated that in purple with the zones of mineralization forming within the skarn, primarily within the skarn altered halos around the central intrusion, as well as in some structures that run past the intrusion. We've identified 6 deposits. Mineralization extends to a depth of 1.2 kilometers in the skarn front deposit. Much of the mineralization, though, is much shallower, extending from just a few tens of meters below surface down to 400 or 500 meters below surface, particularly in the South Skarn and the Mina La Bacona target areas. So again, it's a classic skarn system. These are pretty well-known deposits in Mexico. Very basic metallurgy and mineralogy to the deposit. Primarily the mineralization is phallerite and galena and chalcopyrite to a lesser extent, with silver essentially being carried by the galena. Breakdown of the mineral resources. The skarn front is the largest deposit of the 6 that we've identified, accounting for over 200 million of the 335 million ounces that we have identified to date. It is also one of the higher grade deposits as well. And then this is, again, going back to the PEA and the mine plan, showing the, I guess, the mine plan with NSR grade distribution. And so you can see that, yeah, we're looking at initial capital of 341, breakdown of that you had in, the initial plant and surface infrastructure at 275, you add in the initial mining capital, that comes out to 341 million, add in the sustaining capital, total capital is $509 million. And again, in the graph, you can just see the distribution of the high-grade zones within the mineral deposit, and how the miners were tackling it or wanted to tackle it. This is showing the average stope width of the deposit, and this is one of the features of the deposit. You have some excellent thicknesses with an average stope width of being around 16.5 meters on a weighted basis per tonnage. Again, life of mine production, 24.5 million tons. Long hole stoping with paste backfill, and in the skarn front, you're looking at a hanging wall infrastructure and ramp at South Skarn and Mina Labacona, footwall ramp with longitudinal stoping. And yes, so stockpile. And again, what you see in terms of the production is that we do tend to be able to get a higher production rate in the first 8 years of the mine plan, and it's a little bit lower on the second the latter 7 years. This is in part because there are two portals. The main portal starts at the Blind del Sol, works its way down through in Las Victorias into the Skarn front and down at depth. The second one starts at the South Skarn and then moves over to the Mina Labacona. That one's only active for about 6 years out of the 15-year mine life. And so this is actually key because we have identified new mineralization. The mineralization connects Mina Labacona with the Skarn front around the northern flank of the Cerro. And again, that's important because if you can continue mining out of the South Skarn portal beyond the 6-7 years that's already modeled, that's going to hit straight to the bottom line, and it's going to increase production in the last 7 years of the mine life. Just a brief note here on metallurgy. You can see the relative recoveries. We're looking at establishing 3 payable concentrates and an arsenopyrite concentrate. You can look at the recoveries there. We decided to take out the arsenopyrite concentrate in part because we didn't want it reporting to the tails, but also because about 80% of the run-of-mine gold reports to the arsenopyrite concentrate. And so this is one of the things that we want to look at in the coming months, is seeing as if we can get any value out of that. It's generally refractory. We don't know if that's going to work or not, but it's something that could add into the cash flow and be a little bit of a benefit that isn't already built in to the program. And then, yeah, just a breakdown of the payable elements. Yep, that's about right. And then this is the flow sheet. You can see that it goes in from the crushing into an initial flash float of the copper. Copper is a very small component of the cash flow right now, and then goes into lead, zinc, and then the pyrite, and then out to the tails and the paste plant. So it's a very traditional flow sheet and relatively simple mineralogy. And so now to stuff that I'm actually more interested in, which is exploration. And we have been doing more drilling. The resource that was used for the purposes of the PEA, we had the cutoff in August 2021. The resource was put out in October of 2021, so we had to have a cutoff somewhere. Well, we kept on drilling. And we completed around 15,000 meters of drilling in that time, ending just this past August. And most of the drilling, as you can see, was along that northern extension, or that northern margin of the Cerro. You see the Cerro in purple in the middle. And you'll see the Mina Labacona wrapping around from the east, and Skarn front wrapping around from the west. I show that in in a longitudinal section here with the scar and front mineralization being extending off on the right, Mina Labacona on the left. It ends up being around a 400-meter strike length. We've chased it down around another 400 meters. That has yet to be built into the into the resource, and we think that that mineralization, as I've explained earlier, will report to any sort of mine plan within those last 7 years of production, which again will speak right to the sort of the NPV, internal rate of return of the project. So yeah, these are the next steps for the project, and we want to continue our ESG work and continuing as what I call the pathway to production. So we are establishing the permitting parameters, getting the baseline studies, and initiating more in-depth social engagement on the project. We're looking now at establishing the cost profile for taking the project to for example, a PFS level. So we have to establish the amount of drilling that's going to be needed to bring the inferred mineralization up into indicated mineralization, etc., as well as all the geotech work and that sort of stuff. And then, of course, over the next 4 to 6 months, we'll be looking at further technical opportunities, which are adding the resources, having a hard look at the ore sorting. Some of the initial test work that we did with Steinert actually showed some excellent preliminary results where we're able to retain, I think it's around 96% of the value within about 20% of the material. It was around 79% mass waste rejection, which was very good. It's an excellent starting point. So we think that of the project. And then, of course, yeah, evaluating gold recovery. Very quickly, onto Oro and Hermanas. Oro is a large laramide, and these are two sister projects that are within Southern Silver. The Oro project is a large laramide copper moly porphyry system that we're currently drilling in southern New Mexico. Hermanas is a much earlier stage vein system that we've just recently acquired and are in the process of done the initial surface work on it and now in the process of permitting. This is the Oro project. There's a large phyllic zone that we believe is above the main porphyry center. This is zoned outward over around a 3-kilometer radius in through a replacement zone, silver lead zinc replacement zone, and then out into a distal gold target. We've previously drilled RC drilling on the gold target. We've done some drilling on the replacement zones, and we're focused on the porphyry target. And let's see, yeah, so now we've completed 3 holes to date. We are now drilling a 4th hole on the project. The targeting was primarily on a number of things, both the surface drilling, compilation of historical work, as well as we flew the project with ZTEM in 2018. So we do have the magnetic profile on the left, the conductivity profile on the right, and so you can see the distribution of the drill holes. We have released the first 2 holes, 10 and 11. Again, it does seem like we're probably at this point on the margin of the main potassic zone and the high grade zone. We've drilled into what we believe are the phyllic zones, and so now that's influencing our targeting for the last couple of holes on the project. So again, more news to come on this one. And then Hermanas vein system, about 2-kilometer strike length on there. We did some due diligence testing after acquiring the project and have now identified 3 different target areas to test with 15 holes, RC holes, and we're in the process now of permitting and should be looking at drilling that in 2023. And so with Southern Silver, we feature a diverse set of assets and a diverse property package that gives the investor exposure to both precious and base metals. We have what we believe some excellent PEA results with a large-scale underground mine with robust economics. And we have ongoing work on that at CLM. It's the ESG, the permitting, engineering upgrades, and they'll be proceeding through the fall of 2022 and into 2023, and as well as we have ongoing work and drilling exploration on the Oro project, as well as pending drilling on the Hermanas project once we go through the permitting process on that. And that's it. Thank you very much.